Hey, how's it going, everybody? So I figured while I was at it this morning, right? I've been getting a late start on like most of my days, which is kind of crappy because I typically get up at like 3 o'clock. So I've been sleeping in late, and don't get me wrong, I enjoy it. I enjoy it, but I'm not able to really get as much done as I'm used to getting done. So I'm probably gonna start doing that again. But I figured while I was at it, I noticed that I am now at 10 subscribers. Right? People are like, okay, it's not a huge mile marker. Well, for me, it is. It's going from single digits to double digits. So I figured I might as well introduce myself a bit so at least the people who are subscribing know who I am. And I know that there's a couple of my friends who subscribe to me. So, guys, if you want to see me act a fool, you can watch this. There you go. But those of you who do not know me, this is just to kind of give you some insight on who I am. I am the creator of RDE Entertainment, and for those of you who don't know, my name is Dalton Ray Richardson. Ray D, middle name, first name initial. It's not that hard, you know what I mean? Like that's literally how I made it. I had this channel. I think the name was Sigma, and that just didn't stick. I wasn't a fan of that, so I changed it to Ray D Entertainment, and it's been. That kind of stuck with me, and I really like that. So I spent the last 5 years in Camp Pendleton, California. I am a United States Marine, active duty currently. So I've been doing this when I have time and making films when I have time. Unfortunately, for the next 3 years, I'm not going to have a lot of time to go film any new projects. So I'm taking my time right now just pretty much editing and making sure that the projects I do have are decent quality and that the stories are good and that the project looks at least polished. So but yeah, so that's I've been in Camp Pendleton for the past 5 years in California. I am originally from a small town, Manitou, Illinois, which is where I'm at right now. This is my room. This is where I was born and raised. And I came back here to be a recruiter in the Marine Corps. So it's cool to be home and to be able to see everybody and to be able to provide the opportunity that I had to grow and to learn to people other than myself, and to be able to maybe help somebody in the way that I was helped. Because this is a very, very small town, you know. I mean, I pretty much know everybody by name. And if not, I at least can look at them and be like, hey, what's up, man? You know what I mean? Like, I know who they are. But yeah, so going out to California and being able to do some filming and some, some acting projects and stuff in Los Angeles, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to be able to meet all those people and to be able to see how that industry works and how the entertainment industry, you can kind of separate it from like fact from fiction and be able to actually see in person what it's like and what the creative side to it is. Because I'm absolutely a huge like 80s 70s through like the early 90s nostalgia. That's my thing. That's like what I love. So not that I don't like modern day filming and then like creative projects, but I don't think they are as creative today as they were back then. That's why we had so many franchises, right, back then, because it was just they kept creating on what they already had and they kept going and going and going, and they're like, oh my god. But the thing is about those projects, right, people are like, these are so unbelievable, these are unrealistic, right, they're far-fetched. But did you go see them? You went and saw them, didn't you? So they weren't too far-fetched for you to get in the theater and be able to watch it and you pretty much criticize it. You know what I'm saying? So that's the stuff that I'm really into. And a lot of my films, if I make one, it's with the intent to continue the story. So I'll be doing the same thing. Very low budget. My projects are very low budget. And so don't expect going into it, it's going to be like a 5-star production, because it's not. There's no company behind it but myself and the actors that I work with, and the talent that I work with. I do my own filming, my own editing, except for Vengeance. I just directed that and then wrote the script. I hired somebody else to film it, and that is the last time I ever was going to do that. It's very pricey for something that you could learn and do yourself, and I think the reward of doing it yourself is better than just paying somebody to do it for you, because you get to pretty much clearly envision your project and create the project the way that you want it created, not the way that somebody else comes in and thinks it should be done. So yeah, so that's how I kind of look at it, and my interests and what I'm into. I joined the Marine Corps in 2016 out of Pekin, Illinois, which is about a 15-minute drive from here. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I wasn't very ambitious. I didn't know. I wasn't passionate about anything, right? And so leaving, I knew that I didn't want to go to college. I knew it wasn't for me. I knew the jobs around here might be, maintain, like, sustainable, right? Like, you might be able to get them and stay in them, but they were nothing that I was passionate about, and I didn't want to trap myself. And I knew if I go to college, I would just be surviving like I had been doing for the past like 10 years at a regular school. So I joined the Marine Corps, and I didn't join it because I wanted to do it and I would really love to do it. I just kind of did it. And to this day, I can't really tell you why I initially did it, but I can tell you why it's been worth it. And I can tell you all the things that pretty much have made it worthwhile to me. I spent all of 2018 traveling around Asia and Europe, which was amazing, going through the Mediterranean and seeing other cultures. I went to, on the way out of America, if it looks like I am losing my breath, it's because I just got over COVID. So bear with me. So in 2018, when we first left on our deployment, I went to Hawaii. After that, I went to Sri Lanka, which is a small Indian country in Asia. Really nice place. And then after that, I went to Sicily, Italy, Spain, Rota, Spain, Singapore, India, and then I think it was a Middle Eastern country called Oman, which, like I said, these are all places that I had never been to before. So seeing these different cultures and just understanding like that the world is so much bigger than this small town that I grew up in was mind blowing. And then I came back in early 2019, and I met somebody who was a Marine. She was actually one of my like junior Marines, because I was a non-commissioned officer at the time. I was a corporal, right? And she told me, she's like, hey, Corporal, have you ever considered being an actor? Or no, she said, have you ever considered being a model? And I was like, no. You know what I mean? Like that's not something that from where I'm from that we do. That's just not a possibility. And she's like, well, you should think about it. It's a lot of fun. You get to meet a lot of people. And I didn't really, I had a lot of like misconceptions about what modeling was and like what it consisted of. And so I forgot what it was. We had an extended weekend one weekend, and I was just sitting in my room and I was like, I'm not doing anything this weekend. And I reached out to her. I was like, hey, like, is that offer still on the table to come, for you to kind of, for us to go do like a modeling gig or something just to see what it's like? She said, not at all, So I went up to Los Angeles one weekend, and, she introduced me to a photographer up there, or a couple of photographers up there. And it was like I forgot what they called it. It was like I don't want to say exhibit, but like they had a bunch of photographers around us, and I'm not good with the terms, right? The terminology, but there were like 3 or 4 models there with different sets, and they just went around like pretty much photographing and using different styles and like different techniques to make the images look the way they do. And I have a whole portfolio of all my photos and everything that I did. And it was a lot of fun because I got to travel a lot. I got to meet people every weekend. I was either going to LA or San Diego, or I don't know, somewhere that was not right at Camp Pendleton. So it was cool to be able to go out there and see, all of California and be able to meet people. And then in later, like probably mid 2020, I got onto an app called Backstage, and I started, applying for gigs, auditions and stuff. And I got some. I actually ended up getting casted as like an extra in a student project, I believe, called Younger Days. Matthew Middendorf is the director, and I don't know if he was the writer, but I know he was the director of the project. And he casted me, said just be here, and you're going to be in the background, in the audience. And the guy was up on stage, so you could probably only see my shadow along with like 10 or 15 other people's shadows. We were like booing the guy on stage, that's all we did. And but just being on that set, that was the first time I had ever been on a film set, or I have no history of theater, I have no history of any of this. And I got in there and I was like, this is really interesting, you know what I mean? I was watching it, and I saw the one guy, you know, he was a director. He was pointing out directions from his director's chair. There was the sound people, there was the cinematographer, there was all these different people doing these different things. And I was like, I thought to myself, I said, that's really interesting, you know what I mean? Because I never have seen that. I never saw how films were actually made. So I was super into it. And so I kept applying it for gigs after that as an actor. And I wasn't getting a response, you know, I wasn't really getting out there or getting any exposure or getting anybody who wanted to cast me. So I thought, well, I could either keep doing what I'm doing now, that's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome. Or I could write my own project, and I could cast my own people, and I could cast myself as one of the roles, right? And then that way I could get the experience of being a director, I could be the experience of being an actor, you know, a writer, the whole thing, right? And I felt like doing that was going to give me more reward than just you know, being an actor or being just one of the components of the project. So that's when I wrote the project Vengeance, the script for Vengeance, and I put it all together, and I met a lot of people. And actually from that project, I was able to find Alexander Texador, which was going to be cast as Maxwell Croft in Mr. Nobody. And then he introduced me to Patricia and Kamal, which were both ended up being casted in Mr. Nobody as well. So, you know, you meet a lot of people, right? And through that app Backstage, after I had learned how to, you know, kind of get everybody together, I was able to connect with other actors and be able to start casting my own projects. And I fell more in love with writing and directing and just filmmaking in general than being an actor or than acting. So that became... I just, like, when I did it and I saw the final project of Vengeance Part 1, I just fell in love with the process and just doing it. I just wanted to keep learning and keep building on that skill, because that's what it is, right? It's a skill. Yeah, now I have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've done Vengeance Part 1, Vengeance Part 2. Oh, I've done more than that. And then I've done Mr. Nobody, Hopper, Dolly, and I've also done 3 skits with Jason Songer Sr., which are pretty freaking hilarious once they get released. And he plays like a news anchor, right? Pretty much stating the events of each of my films, because I like to, all my horror films, I like to interconnect them and like put them in the same universe, kind of. And so it's I've had probably about now 7 or 8 projects that I've done, and they've just been fun. They get more and more fun every time, because, you know, and I try to apply my own level of nostalgia to it, you know, the VHS look and the coloring. I stick to black and white because it's a lot easier to edit. But yeah, I mean, it's an absolute blast. So that's kind of how I fell in love with it, how I ended up getting into that field and really learning how to do it. Though I'm not going to have a lot of time to keep working on it and keep, you know, I'm not going to be able to post a ton of videos all the time and then really continuously work at it. But every extra moment I get, I will be script writing. And pretty much my goal is to just get a bunch of stories together and set them up for the end of this, however long this period is of recruiting and working my butt off to try to do that. And when I have time, I'll work on my script writing and my editing and stuff like that. I'm about to release Mr. Nobody, so that is going to be a blast, and I hope you guys love it as much as I loved filming it. And yeah, that's pretty much what the plan is for me. Trying to think. I'm a horrible self-promoter, so like I said, I'm not good at continuously just posting film or videos about me and stuff like that. I'll probably try it more and more, but I used to have a really big self-confidence issue when I was younger, and then modeling was actually my break out of that. Like, I was very scared to do that because I was very worried about what people think about me, and you know, how silly it looks and how embarrassing it might be. And doing that broke me out of that you know, mindset of being scared. So it changed my life. And I think that's why I just love this industry so much, is because, you know, once you do it, you're not scared anymore, and it really shows you how creative you can be and how much you can really do with other creative minds. You know, when you are given the abilities and the opportunity to create something, you can just keep creating, and it can be completely new, right? Nobody's done it before. So that's a bit about me, right? I'm not going to rant too much more because I'll just keep talking for days. I appreciate you guys watching, and I will, like I said, I'll be putting up more when I can, or when I feel like I should. I don't do this whole posting once a day or posting once a week. I just kind of post when I feel like it's something that's important to post. It actually took me a lot just to get here and to do this video, but like I said, double digits, right? That's a mile marker, or a milestone that is important to me. So this is my way of kind of showing that it matters, and that you know, I really want to keep growing it and keep connecting with people, and allow them to see what you can do when you really put your creative mind to work. So thank you again so much, guys, for watching. I'll post as soon as I get something else to post, and I will be seeing you guys in my next video.